This is Carl Munson of Expats Portugal, and this is number 5 of 1,000 things to enjoy in Portugal. No Lisbon trip is complete without seeing the Cristo Rei monument, which overlooks the city's world-famous riverside aspect. And whether up close and personal or from afar, few will leave the capital unaware of its reassuring and magnificent presence. Inspired by Rio de Janeiro's Christ the Redeemer statue, work began on this giant cement construction in 1959 and was an expression of national gratitude as Portugal was spared the worst effects of World War II. Standing 110 metres high in Almada on the south side of the Tagus River, which can be crossed by ferry or by train and car via the similarly iconic April 25th bridge, the Cristo Rei monument is a religious experience for the devout and the secular alike. Hola, bom dia. Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show from Expats Portugal. How are you today? It is Feelgood Friday. Sadly, Claire can't join us this morning because of a personal situation. Lots of love to you, Claire, and I hope you will be on the show soon when it suits you, when you're ready to do a workout with us. That's what we were hoping to do, and it's not possible this morning, but we will come back to that. Okay, so some of you who got your lycra ready or are standing there ready in your thermals, I do apologise, but we will get to do that another time. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't enjoy standing there in your thermals and lycra anyway this morning. Don't send pictures. So good morning to Hank, who's already joined us from the United States. I think Hank is a sort of guy who likes to be first, and he's managed that a few times this week. Maybe enjoying the short videos that I'm making for YouTube that feature one of the 1,000 things to do and enjoy in Portugal. And in case you arrive halfway through that and think, oh God, what's he talking about? It's fine. They're all available on our YouTube channel. So if I can remember rightly this week, what did we do? We did the biggest cork tree, the biggest cork oak in Portugal. This morning, the Cristo Rei monument, Santuario of Cristo Rei there in Lisbon. An absolutely magnificent monument and a must-see. I mean, you can't not see it if you go to Lisbon, that's the thing. Gerês, Peneda Gerês National Park, we did. Pastel de Nata, we started on Monday. And I can't remember the other one, but I've done 5 this week. Loving doing those and very open to your suggestions. I'm very suggestible, as you may have noticed if you've known me for a little while from this show. 1,000 things to enjoy in Portugal. It's not going to be difficult to fill that up. I've got 995 to go, and you're very welcome to make suggestions of enjoyable things, eating, drinking, being and doing and visiting Portugal as and when you can, of course. So on this morning's show, no actual physical exercise, which may, of course, come as a relief to some. Does to me. But I mean, I'm ready to do it when Claire is, or anybody else who wants to come on, given that it's looking likely that we might go into extended lockdown again here in Portugal. And for those of you who watch this elsewhere in the world, a little bit of PE might be quite a nice idea on a Friday or any other morning. So today I want to talk about the very excitable show we had yesterday, discussing what went on in America's capital the day before yesterday. And we never had so many people tune in and have so many people get so eggy, I think, in the comments. I want to come back to that because I thought it was very interesting. And I was very grateful to each and every one of you who commented, regardless of whether we agree on the content. I just think it's important to have a place where you can speak out. And I'll say more about that as well. We have the weekend weather to look at. Cold, basically, and rain possibly, and wind maybe. But we'll have a finer look at that. I'll go to the Portugal Resident to bring you the new lockdown restrictions to make the best sense of what's going on for Portugal, because it is confusing. But the 1 o'clock curfews deadlines for the weekend seem to have returned. So I'll go into that. And then once we've got that out of the way, because it is Feel Good Friday, let's go to your feel good formulas. And Lord knows, talking of the good Lord and featuring the Cristo Rei monument, what is it apart from, or as well as, or if faith is not your thing, what is it that you do? What is your go-to thing for your feel-good formula for staying sane and safe in these uncertain times in the world? And I emphasize that it's uncertain times in the world because, of course, many of us are lucky enough to have homes and families and other parts of our life, which we could call the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle. Perhaps 80% of our lives are very good. and it's the 20 that we could put in perspective as these crazy world events, rather than if you have it the other way around. If you're affected massively up to 80% by world events, that's going to make for quite a difficult life, I would say. But I'll discuss that more after we've got the weather and the COVID update out of the way. And Gemini is asking that, Gemini Bradshaw, is the lockdown starting tomorrow, Carl? We'll come to that. And we'll come to all of your other comments, because that's the most important thing to me. But I will come back to those after I've had a very quick look at the weather, so I can get that out of the way and get the COVID update out of the way, and then we can chat. We can relax and chat as we look forward to the weekend, which now for many is just another day. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way, but the distinction between weekday and weekend, which is made a lot of in many circumstances. Even the idea of having a Feelgood Friday, because TGIF. It becomes almost an irrelevance with world circumstances, and add to that retirement or a certain kind of expat lifestyle. But still, it's hardwired, isn't it? The whole idea of the weekend. Anyway, Lisbon. Actually, let me bring this onto the screen for you, because I'll share this with you, and you can see for yourself what the weather's like around the country. And we'll go to our Expats Portugal weather page, the weather in Portugal there, you see. Oh, and a quick plug there. Premium membership, do go for that if you can, to support us and the work we're doing at expatsportugal.com. It gives you access to a bunch of great discounts, perks and freebies and so on. So Lisbon, 6 degrees and a clear sky today, a high of 10. So let's have a look at that all-important weekend weather, and oh yes, some sunshine coming next week. Look at that. That's fantastic. So, but a cloudy weekend, high of 7 tomorrow, high of 10 on Sunday. A little bit of sunshine breaking through in the capital. In Porto, 2 degrees, clear sky. There have been days this week where I could see my breath coming out, the condensation in this room that I'm in, and that's the Coimbra weather pattern, which I'll do after Porto, which is 2 degrees, clear sky, 9 degrees the high. It's a cloudy weekend, Saturday and Sunday, highs of 10 on Sunday. And then some sunshine, some glorious looking sunshine for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Coimbra, this is my weather pattern here. Low of 0 degrees, high of 8, and the weekend is looking like 7 and 10 degrees respectively, but dropping to freezing point at the weekend here in the Coimbra district. Faro is 8 degrees and overcast at the moment, and a bit of rain forecast actually for today and tomorrow. The high 10 on Saturday, the high 9 on Sunday, but well above freezing at 4 degrees in Faro. So we do have other districts. All you have to do is ask, and I will scroll down to your particular part of the country. We had a look at Guarda briefly yesterday, that seemed to be having the coldest of the weather. Yeah, -1 there, and -2 tomorrow over the weekend. So be careful in Guarda, and in the north, of course, with icy conditions. Be careful. And yes, so we talked a lot about thermals, didn't we, this week? Get your thermals on, get your layers on, and let us have a quick look, a quick catch up in the comments. A few hellos. Joel, who will be with us, of course, for the Man Cave tonight at 10 o'clock, the Expat Man Cave, which is quite an experience. If you've not been there and done that and got the t-shirt, there isn't a t-shirt actually yet, but there will. I suspect there will be. It's great fun. It's I guess it's a bit puerile and immature at times, but a lot of us love that sort of thing, and we have a good chat and we have a drink, and it's like a virtual pub basically. That's my excuse anyway. Good morning from Gemini. Good morning to you. And Hank was first in with a good morning, guys. And Hank is saying, yep, love them things, very cool and well done. Oh, they're the little shorts, fantastic, on YouTube. Glad to hear they're floating somebody's boat, Hank. That's really cool. Bon dia to you, Anna Rita Vieira. How are you this morning? How are things in your part of the world? Olga Silva is here. Bon dia to you, Olga. Over to Moscow now. It gives me so much pleasure to say that and to have you, Carolyn, in Moscow, keeping an eye on things from a Portuguese point of view. Carolyn there in Moscow with a bon dia. Actually, GMP is my video while I'm walking on my treadmill. Well, I think that's a compliment, isn't it? But then you're associating me with hard work, effort, and sweat, Hank. I don't know if I like that. Jim McDonough, bon dia a todos. I don't mind Hank, incidentally. Only kidding. Bon dia a todos de Wiesbaden, frio e chuvoso, Alemania. So over there in Germany, in Wiesbaden, cold, wet, and rainy for Jim. Good morning to you, Jim. Hopefully Depression Philomena, not that Philomena, the weather phenomenon Philomena, will be moving on. And obviously, with a bit of sunshine next week, it looks like we are seeing the tail end of her. In California, our state government is telling people not to come to the state right now because COVID is so out of control, says Hank. It does make sense at the moment, doesn't it, for people to minimize their movements if possible? You know, that would just seem like common sense. And they're in California, says Hank. They're positively advising people not to go to California. Who would have thought we'd have ever heard the government and you know, a state saying don't come when normally it's yes, come, bring your money, have a great time. Crazy times. We will be looking at how to address the crazy COVID, political, polarized times because it's Feel Good Friday after we've had a look at the new COVID update. Bon dia, Carl. Feeling good this Friday due to no alcohol gin last night. Very good, Penny. A big up to all you dry Januarians, which I've just decided to call you. Penny was with us. We do have our Good Morning Portugal wine club, of course, on a Thursday. Oh, excuse me. Homemade apple pie. The kids, Mrs. M put it together last night. Absolutely delicious. And that was my breakfast this morning, homemade apple pie. Bon dia, so from Penny, who joined us at the wine club last night, having the dry January, brought a non-alcoholic gin and made the comment last night, it was all mother and no ruin with that particular gin, but strangely costs more than actual gin does, even though they've taken the alcohol out. That gin, I guess because of all the processing and botanical herbs they put in and love and care they give it, and that little bit of a premium, of course, for teetotaler drinks. She was off the alcohol and on the non-alcoholic gin last night, and that seems to be working well for you, Penny. So good morning to you. Louise, good morning to you as well. My go-to is being active. Oh, this is fantastic. Excuse me. So more of this, please. Okay, your go-to stuff for making sure that, you know, I believe we're here to enjoy our lives, and I also understand that that's being made very difficult at the moment. But what are your go-to recipes for staying sane and safe at the moment? So Louise is sharing with us is being active for Louise. I'm bouncing on my rebounder, my mini trampoline, while I listen. Its benefits have been scientifically proven. Yeah, you're leaning against an open door here. I used to work with this device called a chi machine, which in many ways stimulates the body and oxygenates the bloodstream, which I believe is what's going on with a rebounder there. Sounds great. So we've got someone on a treadmill and someone on a rebounder. And there's me, very sedentary, talking to you. Maybe I should have a little sort of treadwheel underneath here that I can maybe power some alternative electricity from under my desk while I do the show. Hello, Carl. Thank you, Louise, by the way. Hello, Carl. If you won't go visit Portugal Architecture and Wildlife, you have to wait for summer. Thank you, Marcos Valbon. I guess, yeah, it's probably the best time to go in the summer, unless you're a bit weak in the heat, as some of us pale people are. Perhaps referring to the COVID lockdown restrictions as well of movement. So it makes sense, doesn't it, to delay? And sorry if I am whetting your appetite in an irresistible way with the YouTube shorts, telling you all about all the wonderful things to do in Portugal, but you can't actually do them at the moment. So apologies for that. But they are there to keep as we've said before, to keep the Portuguese pilot light lit for as and when the time comes for you to be here. So let's take a look then, and we'll come back to your comments, and we'll have a big old talk fest in a while. But this seems important to do, certainly answering Gemini's question about the lockdown restrictions for Portugal. As reported now, there is our Prime Minister looking rather dashing, actually, with his college boy style scarf wearing. He's got his muffler on there, and he addressed the country in the last couple of days, and the headline arising from that, from Natasha Don at the Portugal Resident. Other newspaper, online papers are available. Other journalists are available. But Natasha's work I really appreciate. If you're watching Natasha, or if anyone knows Natasha, thank you so much for the work you did in 2020. Really liked your angle on this stuff. A new weekend lockdown announced for Portugal as COVID cases hit nearly 10,000. for a second day running. As reported yesterday, the Council of Ministers has announced yet another weekend lockdown for almost every borough in the country as Portugal battles against the relentless spread of new coronavirus infections. With hospitals in the Lisbon area already focused only on intensive care cases, news coming through before the meeting showed that even this hasn't been enough to stem the situation of absolute emergency. Okay, so your reflections, comments on this, absolutely welcome, of course. No need to go quiet there in the comments. But so there we go. Hospital Amadora Sintra, forever challenged by the requirements of its highly populated catchment area, has had to activate its catastrophe plan, as even without treating non-COVID patients, it has practically run out of beds, reports TVI, TVI station media channel, presenting the new measures to reporters just before 2:30 p.m. PM Antonio Costa said the number of new infections flagged through testing in the last 24 hours is almost as high as the record 10,027 counted yesterday, which I'm guessing would be the sixth of 10,027 cases. In the face of such pressure and the risk of yet more patients requiring emergency treatment in the immediate future, the Council of Ministers has decided that every borough with 250 or more cases per 100,000 inhabitants will have to be locked down this weekend. So pretty much all. Go to Safe Communities Portugal to find out if you're actually in a high risk area of that kind, which will be locked down. But I know I am, and I think most people are, except for the most far-flung of places. They really are in the minority at the moment. But you can check that out on the map and the list at Safe Communities Portugal. Thanks to them as ever. Meetings with health experts, the president, other political parties and social partners will now go ahead before the government decides whether even tougher restrictions are required before January the 15th, when the current state of emergency comes up for renewal. So we are in a continued state of emergency. And of course, one can get used to these things. Talk about new normal. The state of emergency does seem to be normal life, doesn't it? Because it's been going on for so long. But there may be, as it says there, further elevations of what you can and can't do. Said Mr. Costa, it seems highly likely today that tougher restrictions will be needed. And this is in bold print here, and this is why I mentioned it earlier on. And it is speculation at the moment, but we've been here before, haven't we? In fact, it says here, it is more than possible that Portugal is heading for another national lockdown. However, every day counts, which is why ministers have decided on the plan for this weekend. Said Mr. Costa, I don't want to anticipate measures. Hope is the last thing to die. We must have hope. Goodness knows, we will be talking about that next. How to continue to have hope. It's quite a big issue at the moment, isn't it? He suggested it could be that the record high numbers of the last 2 days owed themselves to laboratories that have been running at half speed through the festive break have suddenly caught up. Well, that's quite a big if, isn't it? But if they show themselves to be what he termed a negative evolution of the virus, then it is evident that we have to do what we have to do. So, the figures, of course, that may have been skewed by the festive break and then looked rather dramatic. So there is that to bear in mind. Only 25 boroughs, there you go, escape confinement, which involves no one in the public highway, i.e. outside. No one. The public highways means outdoors after 1 p.m. unless it is for a reason deemed essential. And we've got a list of those that we can share with you as well. And no one leaving their borough of residence. So no intermunicipality travel. Council areas exempt in the Algarve. So if you are down there in the Algarve, exemptions are Alcotim, Algesur, Lagon, Monchique and Vila de Bispo, and I won't read all of those, but you can see this for yourself at portugalresident.com, or just go straight to Safe Communities Portugal for that list. Finally then, reasons considered essential for leaving one's home during a weekend lockdown include the need to buy medication, receive medical assistance, buy food, go to the aid of a sick relative, exercise one's pet, take part in political, diplomatic or similar business, or go to work if this cannot be done remotely. So there you go. In these rather confusing times, with restriction after restriction and sometimes not knowing quite where we stand, I hope that's useful. I thought that was among the clearest of articles and news updates at the moment. All right, so let me just have a quick sip of water and then I'll be right back with you. Maybe if you're a meditator or someone who likes to connect with their senses from time to time, why not do that now? Ooh, I just had a mindful sip of water. Any other mindfulness folks in the audience? Any meditators? Okay, Deborah Davies. I've said it before in this show, but the best way to get out of your own problems is go to help someone whose problems are worse than yours. Don't get tired of hearing that, Deborah. It's fine. I know I repeat myself most days here, but with something as important and I think as powerful as that, say it. Yes, and a really good advice, I think, there, Deborah. Thank you for that. Ooh, trampolines are fun, says Hank. I like Hank and his kind of cheeky reportage that comes in the comments there. He seems in a particularly good mood. Subscribe, says Shalana Weira Surya. Good morning to you. A new name, I think. I haven't struggled to pronounce that before. So Shalana, subscribe and then subscribers. I'm not sure what that means, but do please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're doing great, actually. We're a quarter of our way to our target, which will really help us get to people. And that is close to 2,500 subscribers. The magic number is 10,000, I think, where the work that we're doing can really get to a bigger audience. It's all about the algorithms, isn't it? In every area of life now. Don't let the algorithms get you down, folks. That's another bit of advice. Keep mental safe. Read a lot. Here we go. The feel-good formulas are coming in thick and fast. This is fantastic. Keep mental safe. Read a lot. Listen to music and dance. Call family on Zoom or FaceTime. Improve house details. For some of us, Anna, a bit of DIY can lead to intense frustration. But I know what you mean. It's really nice to get your house in order, isn't it? I mean, I've enjoyed that over the festive break, absolutely. My office was streamlined for at least half an hour, and now it seems to have defaulted back to its usual state. But anyway, learn new things online. Yep, a lot of online courses. Learn Portuguese, of course. Play with kids if you have them. Every day, choose a friend to call or write to. That's really nice. Some yoga or Pilates exercises and good food and drink. I'm loving that, Anna. There's a book. I think that's a book, isn't it? Anna's Guide to Mental Health. That's a really good list. Thank you very much for that. Dr. A. Thompson is here, everybody. Bon dia from Leiria. No trip to Marinha Grande today as my partner's daughter is off school today. Okay. Yeah, so there you go. A change in agenda for you, Dr. Thompson. What does it say on your profile pic there? Keep calm. And for me, my favorite version of that is keep calm and ignore the carry-on, because there are a lot of distractions in the world at the moment that could get us quite unhappy if we subscribe too seriously to them. Everything in balance and moderation. Bon dia from a cloudy and cold Lagos, from Karen's source. Good morning to you, Karen. And a similar bon dia from Owen, our dear friend Owen. Good morning to you, mate. Ali Sheldrake's here. Bon dia. Hooray for the sun returning next week. We've missed you, Mr. Sunshine. Cat the dog says hello. I'm hearing that inside my head. Now, some people hear voices, don't they, in their head? I mean, let's face it, everybody hears voices in their head, mainly their own, of course. But to hear a dog barking in one's head, does that make me barking? I wonder. Thank you, Ali. Good morning to you and Dave and Kat. In Soviet Russia, YouTube live stream watches you. Oh, come on, Hank. Enough with the old Cold War stereotypes. And you know what? There were some pretty interesting comments coming from the what you're calling Soviet Russia. I don't think they use that term anymore, do they, Hank? From Russia, not with much love, it has to be said. Some interesting comments about Mr. Trump's activities and his supporters. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it that Russia would be in such a position one day to make such comments? Anyway, I don't know if we're going to go back there this morning. Andrea Pereira, thank God it's Friday morning. Also, Andrea, the weekend clearly important to you. And thank you for sharing that sentiment of the TGIF. How is Sintra Qashqai doing weather-wise? I can't tell. I'm under the duvet. Been here since Tuesday. It's a good strategy, Deborah. And that comes up, doesn't it, in people's feel-good formulas. The idea to be easy on oneself and not judgmental of oneself. Because, if I do that, if I lie in for a really long time, I do have a sort of bittersweet experience of that. It's like, it's lovely to lie in, but then I think, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And I've got a lot easier on myself on that. So I hope you're not feeling any guilt whatsoever, Deborah. Unless, of course, the pots and pans and the laundry and everything's piling up and whatever, not a child in the house washed, etc., those sorts of things. But What the heck? Enjoy yourself. Don't feel guilt. Guilt's a terrible thing. Lucia Neves, Carl, a more precise Portuguese forecast situation here. Go to IPMA. Maybe we are in need of a weather remix because it sounds Lucia Neves. Your name means snow, doesn't it? You may know a thing or two about meteorology with a name like that, Lucio. Maybe we do need a more precise, as you put it there, forecasting technology. So thank you very much for that. IPMA, of course, is the state meteorological service, isn't it? And comes up with the warnings and so on. So thank you very much for that. What I need is something easy on the screen that people can see and that I can look at a glance. I will take your link suggestion seriously there, though, Lucia. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Dr. Thompson, my feel-good factor is braço. So nicely done there. Bit of Portuguese for us as well. For those of you who are brushing up on your Portuguese or even learning it at all, I'm going to let you translate that. Come back to me. And we must talk about braços as well. Come back to that. Dr. Thompson, is that what your profile pic says? Keep calm and have an abraço. Tenho un abraço. Now my eyesight is a little better. I'll be out weeding this morning, frost permitting. What's happened with your eyesight, Owen? I'll not make the obvious joke. That's more of a man cave thing, isn't it? But what's happened with your eyesight? I didn't know about that. Hope you're okay. And out weeding this morning, frost permitting. Yeah, the ground's going to be cold, isn't it, Owen? Catherine, hey, Catherine. How are you? How's your head this morning? Catherine was with us on the Ask Our Expat social last night, which was a hell of a lot of fun, I have to say, last night, where a few of the Ask Our Expats team from Expats Portugal were gathered along with folks like Catherine, keen to make their way to Portugal. And Catherine was, how do I put this? Appraising and testing various alcoholic beverages. And very sociable it all was too, because I think suddenly everyone they were keeping their glasses out of shot, I think, on Zoom, which is probably what we've become accustomed to doing in work time. It's not a good look, is it, to have a sip of your massive bucket of red wine halfway through the team leader presenting their figures or their presentation. Catherine, yeah, a bit of wine, bit of brandy, fantastic. Good effort, Catherine. And it was lovely to have your company. Glad you could make it yesterday evening. So hope you're well this morning and that you drank lots of water as well last night. I was on my exercise bike yesterday listening to you, and I'm doing yoga later this morning. So I'll be fit by the end of January. Penny's really taking this going into 2021 in a very fit way. Fit for the new year. Fantastic, Penny. So there's someone on a bike, someone on a bouncer, on a rebounder, and somebody on a treadmill so far tuning in. Fantastic. Morning from Nick Cliff. Good morning, Nick. How you doing? Morning. It will die down as the weather warms up and the number of people being vaccinated goes up, is Nick's prediction there. Excellent. Let me just give you a bit of background here. Thank you, Nick, about why I was thinking again. We've done this before, the Feelgood formula, but I think it's not a problem to go over it again, given that another national lockdown might happen here and is already happening, obviously, in the UK and other parts of the world. I saw a post on one of the expat groups, one of the other expat groups, and it was a young gentleman who I'm not going to name them because they might not want to be named. Hey, look at this. A super chat has come in. This is unusual, but a super chat has come in from Catherine Nichols. I didn't know this could happen, really, until it happened to me. And that's a very kind gift. Thank you so much. Sorry, I distracted myself. The smell of money. What am I like? And I don't think I'm like that, interestingly enough, but I saw $4.99 on the screen there, and I'm thinking, what's that about? And it is a super chat. That happens so rarely. Our thing here with Expats Portugal is subscriptions. That's how we're supported. With the advertising model on the website, obviously. But that's so lovely. Thank you very much. If you do want to subscribe, upgrade yourself, do that at expatsportugal.com. But thank you so much. That's so lovely of you, Catherine. I'm totally distracted there. Yeah, but I saw a young man. I think, I'm assuming he's a young man from the photo. And he was saying, are there any support groups in this time, of COVID restriction? And he was saying, I quite enjoyed it at first. It was fine. You know, in the early days of the early restrictions, earlier part of the year, actually had quite a good time of it. You know, a chance to review, reflect, etc. As many people did. Okay, there was something of a silver lining for some people, wasn't there, in the spring of 2020, back in those days, back in the day. And he was saying, you know, I'm actually struggling a bit now, and I would like to know if there's any support groups out there. So I thought this is what we do on the Good Morning Portugal show. You know, and I said to him, look, I don't know if it's going to work for you or not, but tune in. And to me, this is an important place where people can meet in the mornings. And I came up with a little formula, you know, and for me, it's like be a place to be heard. And that's why it was important yesterday to allow people to speak about their feelings about what went on in Washington, D.C. Not that I agreed with everything. And that's not the point. It doesn't matter really whether I agree with people, does it? Or if you agree with me. What's important is that people can be heard. And, you know, obviously there are sort of, I suppose, conventions and limits to that. And for me, the limit is that you remain respectful to other people and you don't get shouty. And, you know, it was getting a bit polarized, wasn't it? And someone criticized me for even mentioning, you know, what are you talking about politics on a Portugal expats show? There's no place for that. And then other people are saying it's absolutely right to talk about politics. You know, there's no escape from politics and it's right to talk about it. From my point of view, it's right to be heard. It's important to be heard, you know, I think that's part of a support group is for people to check in and say what's on their mind. And, you know, no one else needs to get their knickers in a twist about that. That is their thing. They're saying it, they're owning it, and it's true for them in that moment. Unless they are getting preachy and, you know, being right is more important than being happy and berating other people, then I draw the line. You know, if you want to be heard, I'm all for that. If you want to make other people wrong, if you want to upset other people, you definitely can go elsewhere for that. And there are other places for it. But you have no idea how much I am committed to people being heard. So being heard is one thing that I think we offer here. Being calm is another. Okay, so I think it's important. As I said, that mention of meditation before, I'm not suggesting everyone become a meditator or anything like that. But I think in these times, we need a place to breathe out. Let's put it like that. Just so, you know, for things to be easy. And I know you're on rebounders and treadmills and bikes, but in many ways, stillness can be found in that physical movement, can't it? But it's like stillness of the mind and being calm. So I hope we have that as well. I hope we have a place where people feel they can breathe out and be themselves and be heard, and then be happy, because that's what like I said before, I think we're here on this planet to be happy, albeit it's very challenging at the moment. And of course, unprecedented. I haven't used that word for at least half an hour now. But that's my formula. That's my feel good formula, or that's my offer to you as people who may or may not want to use this as a support group. And we go back to the feel good factor of Dr. Thompson. Un abraço, a hug, of course. This is a virtual hug. So, you know, please use this as a place to check in the mornings. Please use this as a place to have your say, get off your chest what's there for you, even if it is like life is wonderful. Because even in these times, you know, you can have those moments, can't you? And a place to be happy, share your happiness. Okay, so that's my offer. I hope that helps. That's my feel-good formula and service to you as Good Morning Portugal. Because I did feel a bit challenged by some of the criticism of like opening up to what had gone on in America. But I think about it, and that's where I've got to so far. Here in Germany, the limit is 200 cases per 100,000 for the most strict lockdown measures. Interesting. So 50 more here in Portugal. Curious question from the doctor. Thanks, Jim, by the way. A curious question. Last Sunday afternoon, the petrol station said we couldn't buy cigarettes after midday, I think. Also, the shopping mall was closed, unusually for Sunday afternoon. Did we miss something? Yeah, you did. I don't know about cigarettes after midday. Perhaps they're not seen as essential. I don't know about cigarettes. I know that the shopping malls were closed in the afternoon because everything, and this is what's going to happen this weekend, and I think probably the weekend after. And obviously, if we go into lockdown, things are shutting at 1 in the afternoon at the weekend, and there's the overnight curfew as well from 11 until the early hours, until dawn, 5 or 6. Forgive me, I can't remember exactly which. It's irrelevant to me whether it's 5 or 6. I rarely see that time of day, but I know beer's been. It was a really quaint thing in Portugal where you could buy beer at a petrol station, and you can't anymore. You can't drink at petrol stations. Maybe you can buy it, but you can't drink at petrol stations. So maybe the same is true of cigarettes at a petrol station as well. It looks like you can buy fags anywhere. With American listeners, I shouldn't use that phrase, should I? I should say cigarettes. So yes, I mean, Portugal, it remains a big part of Portuguese life, doesn't it? And there's a remote control thing, isn't there, that they use to make the machine operable, to make sure that cigarettes aren't being sold to young people, I think. But cafes, news agents, all over the place you can buy cigarettes, can't you? I think that might have just been a petrol station thing with the slightly strange ban on beer. It might be beer and cigs are not you can't buy those at all or at certain times. So I hope that helps in some way, and maybe someone else can clarify that in the comments. Eric, good morning to you. Windy, cloudy, bon dia from Faragudo. Good morning to you, Eric. Great to hear from you. Corey Dyspraxis. So does that mean I can go and see a property on Sunday afternoon? Well, Corey, not strictly speaking if it's after 1, but there are exceptions in terms of if your life depends on it. Obviously, I think you've got a good case. If you have to move house and viewing a property is part of that process, of course, that is more important than being homeless. So it looks to me like, strictly speaking, no, but you might find yourself a grey area of possibility in going to look if your life and lifestyle depends on it in some way. William Williams, please don't take offense, but it's 1 a.m. in Vancouver. I'm drifting off to sleep listening to your great channel. Big audience for sleep aids. It's like meditation. I'm not going to take that offense to that. I rarely take offense, but certainly not. I mean, it's all part of the service. So if everyone could just talk a little more quietly. No capital letters in the comments, because we might wake William up. Nice one, William. Sorry I'm late. Hola, bon dia from Elsa Riley in North Wales. Some idiot arranged a Zoom meeting. What are people like? 8:35 Zoom meetings. Don't they know we've got the Good Morning Portugal show at 9? Bon dia. Meditation is one of my go-to, says Doreen Reyes. Of course, because you're a star child, Doreen. We know this about you, as well as walking in nature. But it's too cold now for the latter. Also watching comedies, chocolate, and watching chocolate or eating it. The really healthy way, of course, you put your finger on there, is to watch chocolate. And maybe eat comedies and participating with your Expat Portugal life. Oh, thanks, Doreen. That's part of your feel good formula. That's really rather good. Thank you, Doreen. Great to hear from you this morning. I think you're on the call as well, weren't you, last night? Great to see you there. No guilt, full stop. Yes, Deborah. And as I was saying that, I was aware, I'm not interested in guilting people. I just know it's something that can come up when one is having a lie-in. So excellent, Deborah. No guilt is part of a feel-good formula, isn't it? Deborah Kashkaish is cold but sunny. Yesterday, today some clouds, but the sun is appearing. Woohoo for Kashkaish, fantastic. So maybe safe to come out from under that duvet now, where you've been since Tuesday, Deborah. Gotten addicted to the House Hunters International show, to keep saying. Oh, okay, House Hunters International for Hank. That's interesting. Thank you, Hank. And I think something to put on my viewing list there. I'll take a look. That's right. Nevish means snows from Lucio. Got a thumbs up there. And look at this. Yeah, this super chat is what YouTube call it. Thank you, Catherine. I'm really taken by that. That would buy me a shot of very fine aguardent. But obviously, that's not what it's for. It needs to go into the collective coffers. I can't be creaming off the super chat profits to satisfy my drinking research, which is what I call it. But thank you so much, Catherine. Very kind of you. Apple pie for breakfast. Ha ha ha. I love my gluten-free porridge. What's wrong with apple pie for breakfast? I love my gluten-free porridge with sliced banana and blueberries on top. What do other Good Morning Portugal listeners eat for breakfast then? A yummy breakfast is one of my go-to feel-good things. Yes, it's a good start to the day, isn't it? Wonderful. My head is fine, says Catherine. What's your secret, Catherine? That's really good to know. I'm so pleased. Catherine, what a great idea. All this time, I've never bought Carl a coffee. Oh, that's so kind. The floodgates are opening. Woohoo! Lol from Joel. I'm not sure why, but we'll take it. Major swelling in my left eye started Tuesday. Oh no, Wednesday. No vision and pain behind the said eye. A natural remedy applied yesterday. Vision clearing, minimal pain today. Sight's better. That man with his natural apothecary, quite incredible. I have tasted Owen's food. He's a marvelous and remarkable chef using local ingredients very inventively. And there he is as well. Food, the best medicine, and some sort of natural remedy from the garden by the sound of it as well. What is it for the eyes? I forget now. And some of these old herbs even have the name of the thing they do, don't they? Feverfew, for example. But I mean, don't rush out and eat a load of feverfew to bring your fever down. Check first. But I was just saying that from a sort of nerdy point of view rather than a medically accurate point of view. Please don't just go eat things in the garden without knowing what they are. You need someone like Owen to help you. I have a Facebook page named Keeping Connected. It's worth a look. Yeah, go ahead. There's another support group from Owen there that's been started up by Owen, Keeping Connected. That's fantastic. I think the Feelgood formula, the need for support groups and so on is becoming evident, and people are rising to that occasion, including Owen there. Thanks, Owen, for doing that. I love my duvet days too. Oh, and I started watching Peaky Blinders yesterday because of your comments about it. Doreen, for the sensitive soul, which I know you are, Peaky Blinders can be a little bit violent, but there is still something very... that's why I avoided it at first. I just thought it's just going to be a load of slashing and burning and fighting and bad behavior. So I avoided it. But then I watched a couple and I really got into it. My only excuse really being the insight into human behavior. It's remarkable. And, the production value quality of it is quite something as well. And it's really captured people's imaginations. A Darwin Award, I think, to some people who created a Peaky Blinders birthday party or something. Somebody ended up accidentally shooting somebody else at this thing because they probably got a bit too carried away on the Peaky Blinders vibe. Are you looking at my point? Bang! You can't get into it. It's a drama, everybody. It's not to be taken too seriously. In many ways, it's a negative teaching aid. Don't do that sort of stuff that you see on Peaky Blinders. But that's interesting, Doreen. Thank you for sharing that. Communication is key. We must share the good and the bad. Catherine, it's absolutely right, isn't it? And the problem we've got at the moment in society is that it's difficult for people to share their views, to speak up. For fear of ridicule, and I think it's much, as you say, the key thing is the communication. It should be okay to disagree, because the sharing of what you need to say, get off your chest, is important. Secrets are toxic. Nursing little problems and fears is toxic. It needs to come out, and obviously you need to choose your venue for that wisely. But here is one such place. Nicely said, Carl. Be heard, be nice. Thank you, Louise. Much appreciated. Bon dia, beautiful people in Portugal, from Helen. Hi, Helen. Haven't heard from you for a while over there in Thailand. Yes, Carl, thank you for creating a safe platform to express respectfully and responsibly. Yes, politics globally affects us all as one humanity. Yeah, so I won't avoid it. I mean, a day like yesterday, you couldn't not talk about that, in my view. We could have possibly had a different kind of conversation, and I think we did. So that's I'm really glad to hear this sort of affirmation of the style we are endeavouring to create here. Hank, look at this, $5 coming in from Hank Stalica. Thank you on Super Chat there. First beer I owe you, Carl. Paid forward. Thank you so much, Hank. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Having internet problems so late, but morning, everyone. That's a euphemism for I stayed up and drank all the bottle from the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club last night. Is it not, Gary? You're among friends. You can tell us, but actually he probably is. I mean, Gary would be the first to admit he had too much to drink, I think. And we will encourage him to have a tipple tonight in the Man Cave. One of my co-hosts in the Man Cave, along with Frank the Hat, or Persian Frank, and we'll be there tonight. So great to have you here, Gary, and looking forward to your company again tonight. The voice of reason in the Man Cave. Kate Gimblett. Hi, Carl. I didn't mean to say we shouldn't talk about politics on the show. No problem, Kate. Even it's fine to say that. What I did try to say is that angry US partisan politics going tit for tat in the comments for much of the show was not very illuminating. Absolutely agree, Kate. And the funny thing is, there wasn't a lot I could do about it, because these comments are coming in, and I see them. You see them before me, and this is how it works here, isn't it? So it is tricky to manage that, and I will get better at it. And I was getting, the sense, these people are just arguing among themselves, and they're welcome to do so. and it doesn't make the cut because, as you put it, I think the key thing there, not very illuminating, and that's our aim, is to be helpful and illuminating rather than to degenerate. So no harm done, no faz mal, or de nada, Kate Gimblett, absolutely no problem. We're good. Yeah, thank you for clearing that up with me. Appreciate it. Louise, I think the idea is that you can use the petrol station for fuel, but not to buy any goods. And this is where, it's going to be difficult for some people who need to buy flowers from petrol stations. Actually, does that occur in Portugal? I mean, what are we going to do for gadgets if we can't buy anything from a petrol station? We can't buy that torch that also inflates your tires or whatever it does. Cigarettes and petrol, not a good combination. I've always thought that, Gary. Lots of people do smoke at Portuguese petrol stations, I've noticed. You think in health and safety obsessed Britain, the idea of buying beer in a British petrol station would just not happen, would it? And it's only just recently that they've allowed people, I think, to have a glass of beer or wine in some of the upmarket petrol stations that are overpriced. So it's a class thing, isn't it, in the UK? But when I came to Portugal and I saw people drinking and smoking at the petrol station as a thing, as a social thing, wow, this is amazing. The heat south of the river in Lisbon, late in the evening, families watching football, smoking and drinking, not the kids necessarily, but I suspect that goes on as well. And I thought it was a great scene in the Portuguese petrol station. And I don't know if it's going to come back. We need to campaign for the comeback of that. Should I be campaigning for families drinking and smoking at petrol stations? Probably not. Help me here. What's the meaning of "I was just giving you a friendly hard time"? Is it good, bad, friendly? I don't know. From a narcissist, that's a bit of gaslit bullying. Possibly. From a true friend, that could be very good. I would take that from the likes of Gary and Frank. And I do on a Friday night. I do like a friendly hard time. But I don't like it if it's code for I'm just telling you, I'm giving you my cruel opinion and dressing it up as friendliness. I don't know, Anna. Give us more context on that. Yes, S5EP. I had missed that. Oh, yes, that's really good. That's S5EP. Louise, a solo 50 plus expat Portugal. You've got your own acronym, hashtag S5EP. Remember where you heard it first. Apple pie has apples in it. That's nutrition. Thank you, Hank. The Stalica stamp of approval on my healthy breakfast. Hank, Man Cave International tonight. Come along and share a beer. Yeah, Hank will be a brilliant addition, I think. Good on you, Owen, from Frank as well. Roy Gagino is here. Bon dia, all from Singapore. It's winter here too, 28 degrees centigrade. All right, Roy, enough of that, cheeky rascal. Penny Albertella, colloidal silver, Owen. Yes, Mrs. M makes that. While she's still allowed. Sorry, I had meant to mute my microphone to cough there, but I think you got the full blast. But at least we're socially distanced. And when I say being allowed to make colloidal silver, I'm not saying I'm stopping her doing that. I've been a massive fan of colloidal silver for over 20 years now. I just believe there are some agendas against that sort of thing. Eric says there is no life of day without eggs. Eat more eggs. And I do. We have chickens here. That's a really good bit of advice. Go to work on an egg. Owen, what is the homemade treatment? My friend's horses are swelling in the corner of his eye. Elsa, this is great. Eye bright. There you go. That's the one I couldn't think of. Shelley, I knew if anyone was going to know, Shelley would know that. Eye bright is the herb. And now the difficult work begins of trying to identify it out there in wild nature. We've gotten addicted to, is this for real, or are you just trying to make me F and Jeff on the oh dear, you guys are making me laugh this morning. We've gotten addicted, I'm going to say it, to Schitt's Creek, and hoped for a mini binge last night. So you're sort of ankle deep in Schitt's Creek, then gutted to find that it disappeared from our Netflix offerings. Why? Did they say something non-woke or something? They got them banned. Help, what do we need to do to get it back? I don't know, Kate. What's behind that? They may have said something a bit off politically and been struck, cancelled. When it looks like later today, people will see my Humpty Dumpty face. Oh, he's had a shave. Amazing. Did you go to proper Portuguese barber? I hope you did. Violent series from, says Elsa, Boardwalk Empire. Excellent. Some really good recommendations coming through for televisual entertainment. Yes, says Owen, to whatever the question was. Wi-Fi, Gary, or was it the Aguadent? You see? Oh, man. Hank Stallica, yeah, Gary, I need to get a beer and stop by. Yeah, see you in the man cave tonight. Hoping to meet some of you this summer. I hope that can happen as well. Dr. A. Thompson, oh my, 10 to 10, come on. Cigarettes and alcohol are essential for addicts, not me, says Dr. Thompson. It did go through a few minds here, I think, when a Dr. A. Thompson was talking about not being able to buy cigarettes. And I wondered if you're a sort of medical doctor, and there's always that, the doctors are always telling you to stop smoking. Is that a smoking doctor? Or are you a doctor of philosophy, where cigarettes, gouloir, and a polar neck shirt, and that look, and you smoke, and you've got yellow hair from smoking so much while you're having deep philosophical thoughts. Wondering, that did go through my mind, but not for you. Dr. A. Thompson is clear to point out. Oh, I like it. Just giving myself my own hashtag. That's brilliant. Result today, Louise. Love my eggs and baked beans, but must be Heinz. This is getting very personal now, isn't it? I agree with you. €1.85 baked beans are in my local Portuguese supermarket. Good morning. Good morning. Hope all well. Go to work on an egg. Hee. Beaten by Kellogg's putting toys in cereal packets, sadly. Good point, Will. He was a funny so-and-so, wasn't he, that Kellogg bloke? My goodness, if you look up his personal habits, I'm not saying you should, but if you should ever do that, you'll be quite surprised that the wholesome concept behind Kellogg's cornflakes, behind that lies a strange figure. Schitt's Creek was absolutely brilliant. It's still on Netflix, I think. I think it varies on Netflix, doesn't it, from region to region. Watched Death to 2020. I did last night, Will. Hilarious. Funny in that Charlie Brooker sort of way, because it is funny, and it's like, ouch, it's painful as well, isn't it? Joel, series to watch for sci-fi lovers out there: The Expanse, The Orville. In England, The Orville is something completely different, Joel. Oh, I can't. Oh, yes, you can. No, I can't. I think that is Orville. Keith Harrison, Orville. No, don't bother. Do they have a woman cave? Catherine, is a great question. There was meant to be the she shed or the lady garden for women to gather. I'm not sticking my nose or anything in there. So it's up to you to do that. I would thoroughly endorse and support it, but nothing's happened so far. Maybe it needs more male yang in that project. I don't know. I'm just saying. Like my eggs and baked beans, says Jim and I. We hear you. See what I mean? People need to be heard. This is such an amazing forum. We've never been to Portugal, but I love these discussions. Must visit when the CV19 madness is over. It looks so welcoming for a retirement destination. Bang on, Roy. It absolutely is. And I hope this is a good sort of forward or a warm-up for you, connecting in this way. So thank you for your kind words there. Catherine, yes, it's the she shed. Yes, not the lady garden, of course not. Most medical professionals I know smoke and drink far more than they should. We know that, don't we, Andrea? No, being up bright and breezy at 7 a.m, which is late for me, says Gary. So there you go, Penny, with your suspicions. How very dare you? You haven't heard of Schitt's Creek, Carl? It's an award-winning Canadian. Well, then I'm going to watch it. That's all I needed to hear was the C word. Canadian television series. It's hilarious. Canadian comedy. Love Canadian people. Persian Frank is Canadian. Can you believe that? That just doesn't make sense, that sentence, but it's true. I had apple pie for breakfast most of last week. Was it the same one, Donna? Was it a massive apple pie from which you took a slice each day? I don't like violent shows, but Peaky Blinders production quality is great, and I'm editing the book of a friend in the Netherlands on human logic, so I'm intrigued. Yes, the human logic of how it is humans can do beastly things when they feel they're part of a righteous community. There's something in that, so I'm intrigued. I sent the life imitating art murder story. Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting. I was wondering about that, Catherine, as well. So far as Joel says, it's not that Orville. So you do know of that Orville, the Seth MacFarlane Orville. Lady Garden does not sound good. All right, sorry, Louise. And you're right, it doesn't. The man cave is funnier than the she shed could be. Interesting. Okay, what, the name or do you think the content? I wonder. That there's a challenge has been laid down there to make the she shed funnier than the man cave, and we'll all be watching, won't we, each other's shows or live streams to see if that's the case. I would so welcome it. Hi, Roy. Yeah, all the research on Portugal is amazing, says Hank. Hank reaching out to Roy there. Fabulous. We'll take that as thank you, Hank, and thank you everybody, the legion that is Good Morning Portugal's community here. So glad for all your feel good formulas. Wanted to talk about that. So glad we did. The Orville is so funny. Says that Orville, not that Orville, that was inflicted upon us, our British childhoods and psyches. Yeah, thank you so much for your feel good formulas. My invitation stands there. Be here, check in, be heard, and be happy is the simple formula. And feel free, as we suspect we might be going into another lockdown here in Portugal or wherever you are in the world. If you're just interested in Portugal, do please see this as a warm and welcoming community where you can come and be heard, and be happy, and be safe and sane. And just lastly, then Kate Gimlet says the She Cafe would be better. That's got a nice ring to it, isn't it? The She Cafe. So it's up to you. It's up to you. Anyone who would be interested in that. What do I call it? A demographic, because it's interesting politically now, isn't it? And this is the political, going into another political areas. The man cave. It's not for men. It's kind of male, and it has the aroma, of men. Not only because they're men, but they're also of a certain age. It's a vibe. It's not about gender politics or anything like that. And I don't want to get into that area. People are discussing that ad infinitum and getting their knickers in a twist, as I said earlier on, about that sort of thing. And, I'm all for discussions about that in the right context. But the man cave is a certain vibe. And as far as I'm concerned, you're into it or you're not. And if you're into it, come and enjoy it. If you're not, start your own thing, and go with that. Just very briefly, yes, talk of starting your own thing. Some of you may remember that on a Tuesday night, I used to do a live stream with the wonderful Donna Jacqueline, who lives in Caldas de Reina here in Portugal, our grandmother of our community and elder expat. And it's almost, like on a packet, a lot of packets you buy in the supermarket, it says may contain nuts. The show idea with Jacqueline is like may contain God. And I know that's a really difficult concept for a lot of people. So Jacqueline and I have spun off from an Expats Portugal associated program. And sometime soon, in the next few weeks, we will be doing a show together where we feel happy to talk about. I mean, Jacqueline, no problem talking about God. For me, it's a little bit different, my sort of spiritual and faith values. And I understand all the buttons that get pushed with God, Christianity, whatever, around the whole area of faith. So we've spun off, and our new show is going to be called, on a Friday, before the Man Cave, is going to be called Life, Death, and Everything in Between. So if you're a fan of Jacqueline, as I know some people are, her calming presence, her wise words, the virtual grandmother of the community, will be doing that soon on a Friday as a bit of a spin-off project. So I'm so glad to be working with her again. Oh, I can't go. We've got some more comments coming in. Owen says, will we be talking about football tonight? He's not here, is he? Don't worry, Owen, I'll be bringing that up. I'm thinking maybe February from 9 p.m. Oh, then we can join you guys in your man cave, the boudoir. So the boudoir might start at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Penny's there with that. Great. Yes, Hank, COVID makes us do strange things. Here I'm glued to a chat forum, live streaming from Portugal, and I've never been. I've even started looking on the Idealista. Brilliant, Roy. We've turned you. We're all living through history, aren't we? We are, Hank. I mean, what an amazing time. And let's keep our heads and keep our hearts and minds open through this, and we can get through. We've got each other, of course. Schitt's Creek has kept me sane this year. It's hilarious and brilliant. I'm on my third binge of all the episodes and got a Schitt's Creek colouring book for Christmas. Oh, wow. Kate once viewed the Man Cave. It should be subtitled Men Talking Bullocks. Guilty as charged, Kate. No problem with that. It's true. It's absolutely true. So if that's your thing, join us at 10 tonight. 12 hours from now, pretty much. Oh, my goodness. We're here talking for an hour again. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful bon fin de semana to you. Have a beautiful weekend. If that is indeed in any way different to any other day of the week. Lots of love. Take care. Abrazos. Beijinhos. Hasta luego. Ciao, ciao. Oh, I know what I'm meant to do at this point. I'll do this now. Here we go. Come on.